Okay, so let's get started. The Cosmos ecosystem is obviously one of the most exciting ones right now with aspect to interoperability and those kind of things. And we're seeing more and more projects actually natively building on Cosmos, but now we see also more and more projects shifting over to Cosmos. So today I'm really excited to have Dan and Adrianna with me, who are working on the Sentinel project, which is a peer-to-peer bandwidth marketplace that they're building. Really, really cool stuff. Also one of the first projects that natively implemented IBC and is also trading on Osmosis. Really, really cool stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited. Thank you both for your time. How's everything going, first of all?
It's going great. Thanks, CryptoCito. It's full speed ahead. I just feel like there's tons of balls in the air and we're juggling them all, and feeling really fortunate that we have a strong team that's helping us execute.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think right now Cosmos is in a very good position and we see more and more solid projects coming out of this ecosystem. So I'm happy to learn. To be honest, I have always heard of Sentinel here and there, but I have never really dived deeply into it. So I'm always excited to learn new things. That's also the purpose here on this channel. But before we get into all these things, can you both first give a brief introduction about yourselves, your background, your experience, also in the crypto industry, or also what you did before crypto, just so we get a bit of context here.
Sure. Yeah. So thanks a lot for having us again. So I'm Dan, and I'm the CEO of Exidio. And so at Exidio, we're the software development arm building tools and applications that integrate onto the Sentinel Network, but we also build applications and infrastructure tools for the Cosmos ecosystem. And I've been in the crypto space since early 2017. I started kind of dabbling in crypto in 2016. And at that time, I was serving in the United States Peace Corps, actually, in Costa Rica, working with local small businesses to help them get their businesses started. And pretty much that's been my career before being in the crypto space, has been in more nonprofits and social impact work. But I've always been kind of a guy that's dug into tech and always been like someone that's always playing around with new tech and always like an early adopter of things. And I started learning about, started going down the rabbit hole real quick about the power of decentralized networks and what we can do to upend kind of traditional business models that have not served individuals and consumers very well. And so, yeah, since basically 2017, I've been in the crypto space and I've worked with quite a few projects, including MetalPay and Block Party, which is now called NFT Protocol, and Salt Lending and a few others. But really, myself and our CTO, Srinivas, we co-founded Exidio back in May of last year.
Awesome.
So I've been in crypto since about the same time as Dan, about 2016, 2017 was when I really made my big push. Was hearing about Bitcoin just from some coworkers. My background, I'm traditionally marketing and communications based, do really well with relaying high level technical concepts down to, everyday people who are looking to take advantage of technologies, like Sentinel and what we're producing at Exidio. Previous to Exidio, I've been working in the EOS ecosystem. So I've actually crossed over into Cosmos, and that was mostly due to the IBC that I saw popping up. So super excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. And yeah, I think that's awesome that you said this and mentioned this, that you switched over from the EOS community to Cosmos. It also shows that Cosmos right now is attracting so many people as well, and developers, and also people that try to build or migrate over to Cosmos. And that's also my first question to you guys. I mean, I've already briefly touched upon it in the intro. You previously have been built on Ethereum, right? And now you have made a full migration over to Cosmos. I think you even have your own Cosmos hub now. The DVPN token, which we're also going to be covered later on, is also a Cosmos native token now. So can you talk about why you chose to migrate to Cosmos, and what benefits and advantages it brought so far, and maybe what it still might bring down the road?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll be honest, I'm not the one that was a part of that decision-making process. Sentinel has been around since middle of 2017 was when the idea came into inception. And it's truly kind of like true to native crypto roots. It was a lot of developers around the world that were looking at the Tor network and looking at peer-to-peer bandwidth networks and realizing that the centralized VPN model wasn't working. And so they came together to build a peer-to-peer bandwidth marketplace. And that model kind of came into fruition in middle of 2018 when the first applications were built and the peer-to-peer bandwidth network was launched. So my CTO Srini was one of those original developers. And when they were building, they initially built on Ethereum because that was the blockchain that everyone was leveraging and it made sense. But they were looking at the design choices of how Ethereum was built and what are the trade-offs that you get. And Sentinel was one of the first projects to start making the commitment to building on Cosmos back actually in 2018. And so we launched our native chain on Cosmos, went live in March 27th of this year. But that was kind of a long time in the making that Sentinel has been building to transition to Cosmos. And one of the main benefits, as Adrianna has already mentioned, is really interoperability. So when you're leveraging a DVPN application, what that application is doing is pinging the blockchain for the information about all the nodes that are offering bandwidth on the network. So it is truly a decentralized network, and there's no one company that's owning all the nodes or hosting all the information about the nodes. It's posted to the blockchain, and then the API of the application is calling the blockchain via API. So with the block time being 6 seconds on Cosmos, shorter block times, the interoperability, you can be able to pay for your DVPN access through a myriad of different crypto assets. And the security model of having your own blockchain and being horizontally scalable made it so that it was a far better design architecture. And that was a decision that was made in 2018, but it took a while to make the full transition.
Yeah. There's also tons of like marketplace advantages in something like Cosmos comparatively to like Ethereum or EOS or some other smart contract platform, where you have like healthy competition versus like tribal competition that you see on other chains. Like it really helps drive a community effort when you have that horizontal scalability versus just like, oh, we're all competing to get bandwidth on this mainnet chain. Cosmos has really allowed for all of these projects to pop up with individual causes, and those causes all serve one another. So it's much more friendly competition than it is like direct tribal competition.
Yeah, that's actually also the ideology that really got me so hooked on Cosmos, because the whole, like all the teams that are working, I got a feeling at least all the teams that are working on Cosmos, they're collaborative, right? They try to help each other, leverage each other's benefits, integrate things and just leverage those synergies, right? And I think in the rest of crypto, what you see is, like you were saying, this tribal behavior. You know, everybody tries to have a winner that takes it all, and everything else is a scam and a rug pull. And yeah, it is what it is. I'm interested to see, like, over the next couple of months, as you see more and more projects, such as Sentinel, for example, to gain really real world adoption, have an active user base. I think that's just my anticipation that we might eventually see a little bit of more tribalism as well, simply because, you know, when you have success, then people will want to top down, right? So even though the whole concept and ideology of Cosmos is to build this internet of blockchains where you have application specific chains and use cases that drive value and bring and connect also the community. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that play out. I think Cosmos is in a very, very good position right now because IBC has already shipped. And that's also my next question. I think, so you said, Dan, just now that you guys launched your chain in March. I think the Stargate upgrade was already live back then. So it was also already natively integrating IBC. But can you talk about how that whole process was to implement IBC, to launch IBC? Was it very easy? Did it go fast? Did it go quick? And what are also the benefits that it brought so far?
Yeah, so actually when we launched our main chain, it wasn't natively IBC integrated. We had a full chain upgrade to be able to integrate IBC, but that chain upgrade was actually really seamless. The Sentinel blockchain isn't running too complex of a version of the Cosmos SDK. It's a pretty vanilla implementation of the SDK. And with that, the transition to IBC was really smooth. So it was just about getting validators to upgrade onto the new chain. It was getting all of the applications that are connecting the Sentinel blockchain, Kepler Wallet, Cosmos Station Wallet, staking rewards, a lot of the different projects that are leveraging our API to pull in blockchain data or are integrating directly with the Sentinel Hub had to make that transition. And I think one thing that has been really great, as you mentioned, is just the whole community around Cosmos. People are very open. It's really easily to access people. People are collaborative. So a lot of chains have gone through upgrades, and it hasn't been complicated to get people to make the transition. And we've seen now we're having all the benefits of IBC. IBC really explodes the use cases and potential for all the chains that are connected to IBC. So
Right.
yeah, the transition itself is pretty straightforward.
Yep. It's also the benefit of using something like a programming language and like Rust, right? Because it makes it just so much easier to stay within the lines and know you're not making huge mistakes. It's a really good software, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think, well, first of all, for everybody who's now new and thinks like, what are they talking about? What is IBC? IBC is the inter-blockchain communication protocol. So the purpose of it is to connect sovereign blockchains, right? And Sentinel is one sovereign blockchain now on the Cosmos network. So is, for example, the Cosmos hub on which Atom is running, or Osmosis, right? Or Region Network, or Akash, or Kava, right? They're all sovereign blockchains, but through IBC, they can all communicate and are compatible to each other. And that's why I think from a product perspective, but also from a liquidity perspective regarding the token, right? And we've seen this in full swing now with Osmosis. They launched around a month ago. And it's just so easy to go in and out of chains and go back and forth and provide liquidity from two sovereign blockchains, which is a killer application for IBC. Mm. And if you now have other products such as Sentinel that go beyond that and have users outside of crypto, maybe, right, that just want to use a VPN service in a decentralized way, this is another great killer application also for IBC and for the whole Cosmos technology stack. But let's talk a little bit more about industry insights here. I think the decentralized virtual private network, the DVPN, is one of your killer applications that is already live and can be downloaded from the App Store, at least the first version right now. So can you talk a little bit about, I don't know, the VPN landscape in general, maybe provide a bit more context, why it's relevant, why it's important, and also what are the main problems in that industry?
Yeah, so it's a massive consumer application that we're seeing crazy adoption. So people around the world are using VPNs. I think it used to be a niche product for kind of tech nerds that are looking to have more privacy or security online. But that's transitioned to now a mainstream application, especially with COVID. It's really accelerated global adoption of making sure that you need to have private and secure networks. And so VPNs are used primarily for two main purposes. One, to make sure that you're able to have privacy of your metadata and your information and your access online. And the other is to be able to get the opposite, to be able to get access to content online that otherwise you're restricted from. So, there's very obvious restrictions like the Great Firewall of China, but then there's restrictions that are even not less obvious. A lot of places in Latin America or even, in Southeast Asia restrict people from getting content. For example, Vietnam doesn't allow people from their country to access medium.com, so they can't read blogs or news articles that are posted on Medium. But with VPNs, they're able to get access to that content. So we're seeing an explosion in the VPN industry. And I think for some context, it was like a $16 billion industry 4 or 5 years ago. And in 2020, it crossed over 30 billion. So it doubled in the last 4 years. And it's expected to reach over 107 billion by 2027. So it's a really fast growing industry as people take adoption of this technology. But as Srini and a lot of the people that came together to launch this network in the onset realized that the industry itself has a lot of issues. For one, it's actually a lot more centralized, not only because it's a centralized company running these companies, but it's a centralized company running the companies that are running the application. So it's a lot more of an oligopoly than people realize. There's 20 companies that run over 150 VPN applications that people think are different companies. So with that, it's a lot less competitive, and there's a lot of can be collusion that happens in the industry. And on top of that, it's not as secure. People are using a VPN for one reason, to ensure their own privacy online. And so they're trusting the VPN company to provide that for them. And time again, there have been hacks or there have been leaks where it's proven that VPN companies are either logging user data or they're collecting user data, maybe not only their online traffic information, but also the information they had to input to sign up for the service. And Sentinel is looking to completely flip that architecture on its head. By providing a peer-to-peer network, anyone can offer bandwidth to the network, and you're incentivized to do so by receiving income for doing so. And then anyone can connect to that network and route their traffic through those decentralized nodes. And so through that network, there is no one company at any point that can collect and store user data. And on top of that, we're making applications transparent. So like you mentioned, that we have one application, a decentralized VPN that's built by Exidio called the Sentinel DVPN. And the code base is fully open source. So anyone can check the code of the application and prove that the application is operating in the way that we claim it does, and that it is truly end-to-end encrypted experience. But one thing I'd want to mention is that Sentinel itself is this network of nodes, people offering bandwidth and routing their traffic through those nodes. But any company can build on top of that. So it's not just the one Exidio VPN. Actually, there's another company that already built one called the Velocity VPN, built by Elysium Group. And there's 7 other companies that have come to Exidio that are excited and see the growth of this network and are looking to build their own applications on top of the Sentinel network.
So they're basically white labeling your code base, so to speak.
Yeah. And so they can either hire us to help them build their application, or they can build their own front-end application. But what we're going to do is anyone that's building on the network, we're going to ensure that the code base is open source, so people can prove the privacy that they're actually claiming that they're offering.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. And I think it's also important to understand what you're saying, that this industry is kind of centralized and run by a handful or 20 companies maybe. So you're basically also breaking up their business models, right? And invite the community and the users to participate in that, and maybe even earn a side income, right? A passive income from home. And I think we can talk about this later, but you have other things in the pipeline, also physical devices and routers that offer even more than simply providing bandwidth, where you can also earn money from home, literally. So I think that's the future anyways, right? Like that's where crypto is and blockchain is heading. And I think that's also where the utility of cryptocurrencies itself comes in. You can simply generate cash flow from home, right? For just breaking up those business models from those large companies. But can you elaborate a bit more on how Sentinel differentiates to competitors on the market? Maybe you can compare it first from what we've seen in traditional internet companies, but also on crypto companies. I'm thinking of Orchid. I think that's one that I have constantly heard over the past years. Not sure, I'm not too deep in that, so I'm just learning, right? Just throwing that out there. How you guys differentiate to them and what makes Sentinel unique?
Yeah, so I think we already talked about really that we're breaking up business models, right? I think that's true. The Sentinel Network is offering everyone a share of the revenue that's being generated across this network. And we can get into the tokenomics of the DVPN token, but simply put, if you're offering bandwidth to the network, you're receiving that passive income for that resource that you're offering to the network. And that is supposedly the architecture of other decentralized VPN projects. But a lot of the projects maybe on the market today haven't actually realized that architecture, where Sentinel actually has. Our network has gone live on our Tendermint base, our Cosmos base mainnet, and it is monetized. And so right now you can offer your bandwidth to the network and start earning income for doing so. Whereas like Orchid, for example, they're not offering a true peer-to-peer bandwidth marketplace. And maybe that's something that they want to transition to, but I know it's been over 3 years and I think they haven't quite gotten there yet. But I think their goal is to have individual residential nodes offering bandwidth. But right now they've used centralized VPN companies as their backend architecture for people to connect nodes. So it's kind of like a centralized, decentralized model. They use like 3 or 4 different VPN companies for their nodes, but it's not a peer-to-peer marketplace, and there's no residential nodes.
Yep. And I think you're seeing, like, to Dan's point, all of these traditional VPN providers that are more centralized and collecting data. The future is Web3. I think everyone in tech kind of knows it, and an open source tech is really taking over even, private centralized software development. So there's a marketplace advantage for these companies to come in and join Sentinel, because if our users or the users of their products are earning DVPN, it incentivizes them to go out and tell their friend, tell their mom, tell their sister about this product they're using. So it's free marketing acquisition, it's free cost that's being paid for by the network technically. So there's a lot of marketplace advantages for that, for centralized companies to switch over to this protocol.
Awesome, yeah, and I've also downloaded the app today and played around. And what I explicitly love is the simplicity, right? So I think that's also something that most crypto projects unfortunately don't care enough about, the user experience or actually the user in general, right? Like, especially if you have a product a consumer product that you want to release and push out. But it's really simple to use, really, really fast. And I've lived in China for 1.5, 2 years, a couple of years ago. So using VPNs was my daily struggle, right? And I always had the same struggle. Okay, this one is faster, but this one connects faster, and then this one has a better connection. I don't know. Like, there's always these trade-offs that you have. But how does Sentinel ensure the performance, right? Because I think when it comes to VPN, and just from a very simple personal user experience, like when it comes to VPNs, I want to make sure that, one, of course, it's private, right, and it actually does what it promises to do, and second, that it performs, right, because I don't want to have low performance, and then my sites don't load, I have to wait 10 minutes. So how does Sentinel ensure performance?
Yeah, so I think it's actually to Adrianna's point earlier that this is truly an open and free market. So all the people that are offering bandwidth on the marketplace, they are earning DVPN tokens for doing so, but they set their own rates. And so, CryptoCito, if you said, people can route their traffic through my node, but you need to pay me $100 a month, you probably wouldn't have a lot of people that are routing traffic through your node, because you're not going to be cost competitive. And on top of it, at the price level, you might not be competitive, but at the user experience level, that's also going to be a competitive marketplace. So if you have a node that consistently goes down, or doesn't have good throughput, or has high latency, those are going to be issues that is going to attract or you're going to either attract or lose users based on the node that you provide. So it's definitely not a good idea to run a DVPN node if you don't plan to continue to maintain consistent uptime. So the marketplace itself is going to provide a more perfect pricing model and a more perfect model for access. But I think the first and foremost important thing is that this is a decentralized model, and that there is no one company that can log your data, so you know that you're getting a private experience.
Yeah, it's that healthy free market, free marketplace value that I think draws everyone into crypto originally. That's kind of what you end up learning, is that, free marketplace competition drives good user experience. It drives innovation. And that's what we're seeing happen in Sentinel on, with DVPN, is these white labelers are wanting to come in and make the best product because they know that there's reason to put real oomph behind it, or their users are going to go somewhere else. And that's the idea of free marketplace value.
So where do we currently stand? I mean, the app that is currently downloadable in the App Store is, I think, still the first version, which is running on Ethereum. Can you talk about the current product stage? Where do we stand? When is a new app coming out? And also some stats and analytics so far.
Yeah, so that's something we're really excited about. We've been, like I said, we've been going full speed, and so there's a lot of development going on in the background. And right now, we're completely overhauling the mobile applications, both on Android and iOS, from the Exidio side, the Sentinel DVPN application. And the plan is for next month, those applications to go live to the public. So we're really excited. This is something we've been building up for. And those new applications will be on the Cosmos-based mainnet on the Sentinel native blockchain. So right now, the nodes that were are connecting to Android and iOS applications are still Ethereum-based nodes. But we do have Cosmos-based nodes via command line interface that are operating right now. And so you can connect to the mainnet and route your traffic through Cosmos-based nodes via command line interface. But we're really I'm excited to completely launch user-centric applications that, like you said, focus on ease of access, ease of use, seamless experience. I think that that's the only way that we're actually going to bring decentralized Web3 native products to mass market, is by ensuring that the user experience is matching the ones in like kind of the Web2 world. So next month is when we're going to be launching the mobile applications, and now anyone can get access to DVPN. And we're currently transitioning a lot of the nodes are making their transition from Ethereum to Cosmos. And part of the reason that some of them haven't made the transition yet is because the applications haven't come out. So as soon as the applications come out, there's going to be a big demand for people to start generating income on mainnet and servicing all the users that are going to getting the applications. So mobile applications are getting developed, and actually on top of that, a desktop application is in the works as well. And the full version desktop application should be coming out probably in the following month in September.
Awesome, man. That's really cool. Looking forward to that. Now, we briefly already touched upon the DVPN token. Can you talk a little bit more about that? What's the point of the token? What's the utility? And also the liquidity. I already said that you guys have been one of the early IBC implementations, and also DVPN is on Osmosis, and it's probably also going to be on Emirates. I think that was announced today or yesterday. Can you talk about that? And also, I think there's still, is that still ongoing with the migration from Ethereum to Cosmos? Maybe you can talk about the migration process as well.
Sure. So yeah, and thanks. We've gotten a ton of positive feedback. That's something we're really proud about, is the design of the token and its use within the Sentinel ecosystem. I think that's something that's a really unique strength of Sentinel, is the DVPN token and how it is leveraged within the ecosystem. So first and foremost is the most obvious use. The DVPN token pays for access to bandwidth on the network. So as you use VPN applications, you can use the DVPN token to pay for your access. And you can get a discount for using DVPN versus using other payment mechanisms. Another benefit is that it's a governance token, and it's providing security for the Sentinel blockchain. So as we're talking about, this is a decentralized network. You know, even myself as CEO of Exidio, if I wanted to shut down the Sentinel network and stop it, there'd be no way I could. The only way I could is if I got all the validators of the Sentinel blockchain to stop validating the blockchain and take down the blockchain. Because all the nodes are posting their information to the blockchain, as long as the blockchain stays live and active, then the network itself is up and running. So it's a very resilient network in that regard. And so I wouldn't be able to shut it down if I tried. But the security of that network and ensuring that validators are continuing to validate the blockchain is by staking, right? And so the proof of stake, delegated proof of stake architecture on the Sentinel blockchain is really crucial to the strength of the DVPN network itself. So we have a really robust set of validators. And not only are you earning DVPN rewards for staking, but you're also participating in governance. But again, on the reward side, that's another thing that we've gotten a lot of positive feedback for. Right now, Cryptocito, if you stake your DVPN tokens, you can earn nearly 60% APY compounded. It's between, depending on how many people are staking, between 56 and 60% APY. And we have one of the highest participation rates in all of the crypto ecosystem for staking. At nearly 90% of all tokens are being staked. So staking and governance, payment for access to the DVPN network. And then what I think is the most unique and really cool about the Sentinel token is it's considered a work token. So as the network grows and increases, DVPN nodes that are offering bandwidth to the network are receiving DVPN tokens for doing so. But when we make another hub upgrade in Q4, there will be a switch of the network, and the DVPN nodes that offer bandwidth won't be receiving 100% of the income. They'll be receiving 80% of the income. And 20% of the income will actually be going back to token holders that are staking the token. So then everyone that's holding the token, participating in securing the blockchain, have an aligned incentive. And as the network grows and scales, you're earning revenue as the network itself scales. So it's a really cool design architecture, I think, and we've received tons of positive feedback on it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just recently joined the Exidio team and joined, the Sentinel cause. But one of the things that attracted me the most was that there's reason to hold this token no matter what your interest in this blockchain is, which could be a variety of things. Like, I think that's something that blockchains miss constantly, like protocols miss, is that there's multiple reasons to be holding this token, whether you're trading, whether you're staking, whether you're passive income, whether you're a validator. There's multiple reasons. And I feel like Sentinel has addressed all of those and has solid roadmaps for all of those reasons, which is going to create aligned incentives and community incentives. So for me, that really sealed the deal on joining this team and joining this cause, because it's hitting all of my major principles of providing, censorship resistant Web3 access, but also aligning incentives, whether that's economic, community, governance, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I also had Zeki Manian on my channel yesterday,
Nice.
the core developer at Cosmos and Cosmos OG, so to say. And I think he was also emphasizing the strength of Cosmos is that the security network, right? So that every chain provides incentives to secure the network, but it's all kind of like, it's all sovereign, it's compatible, but at the same time, it's also doesn't affect other chains, right? So you have your full playground there and you can design your own tokenomics. And I think that's also one of the most important things. So I also love that that the token has, like Adrianna was saying, a variety of use cases, right? That range from actually providing security to participating in governance, which I think is going more and more, getting more and more important as the network grows, as the user base grows, and also, potentially even generate an income plus use it as a payment token. I mean, there's like, you've got everything covered. So it's pretty massive.
And then also you mentioned liquidity. There's another opportunity to earn income as IBC gets stronger. So Osmosis has been an incredible decentralized exchange that's gotten a ton of traction. And the Sentinel's native token has performed really well and gotten a lot of attention on there. I think DVPN has been one of the most liquid tokens on all of Osmosis. And it has had some of the most total value locked on the DEX, and we're seeing a lot more value being created on IBC. So Sif Chain is coming out with their own DEX, like you mentioned, Emeris for the Gravity DEX, and we're seeing a lot of value coming there. And so people are earning great APY as well for providing liquidity on these DEXs. So you can earn by staking and participating in governance, and you can also earn by providing liquidity. And then also liquidity has been a great, I think, part of strength of Sentinel recently. There's been a lot of people that have always been really excited about Sentinel, but when we were on Ethereum, there weren't many big exchanges that were trading the Sentinel token. Right. There was HitBTC, and then there was Hotbit. But recently, MXC has come on as a bigger exchange, and now as of the last week, Ascendix, used to be called BitMax, has also come on as a bigger exchange. So we're starting to see that exchanges are seeing the value in the network that's being built. And so it's getting easier and easier for people to partake in this network, get access to the token, and be able to help secure our blockchain, and also participate in LP and governance.
And it's not just the value that you guys extract from IBC, but you also add value to IBC, taking it mainstream in that sense. I was just looking it up. On mapofzones.com, you can see the IBC activity, and Sentinel Hub is if you're on a daily active user in a 24-hour frame, #1. I mean, you guys are currently #1 here on a 7-day frame, and on a monthly frame, you're always in the top 4, top 5. So this thing is active, and I think if you roll out the second version of the app, we most likely go to see even more adoption and more activity there, which is great for the entire Cosmos ecosystem, right? And the entire Cosmos, and maybe even the entire crypto space, right? It drives more eyeballs also to IBC as a technology stack, to the whole network, to Osmosis, to Emeris and the Gravity DEX, which is still coming up. So yeah, I think that's awesome. And I see it's all kind of like coming together. Everyone's is contributing a lot there. So yeah, I mean, we've already talked so many things. Time is running. Maybe we can wrap things off by sharing your maybe where you guys see the biggest challenges that you still need to overcome in order to go really, get really adopted by mainstream. Maybe you can share some final thoughts on that.
Sure.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, I was just going to kind of piggyback off what you were saying. Cryptocito about all the activity on chain.
Yeah.
I expect that number to continue to increase at a very great rate. So there are 500,000 downloads of DVPN applications built on the Sentinel network across the globe. A lot of them are built by our DVPN, built by Exidio, the Sentinel DVPN application. But then there are quite a few others, like I mentioned, by Velocity, the Velocity VPN. And we're seeing users across the globe accessing this network and looking for decentralized VPN. And the majority of those people aren't necessarily crypto native and are not as worried about a token and speculating on a token. They're looking for privacy and security online. And all of those, almost all 500 of those 1,000 downloads and all those users are still connected on Ethereum. We have a very, like I said, people that are some nodes that have transitioned on CLI, and there's some people that have connected via CLI. But as we transition our applications and our nodes to our mainnet, we're going to see a lot more activity, and all that activity happens on chain as well. So people that are having a session start on VPN, ending their VPN session, that's recorded on chain. So there's going to be a lot of activity happening on the Sentinel network. That's not just around the token, but really around what's happening on chain with VPN activity. But that also comes with its own inherent challenges, right? It's transitioning all of the nodes over to our mainnet, and also growing the node base. So there's definitely, with any type of network, especially a decentralized network, there's a chicken and egg problem, right? You can get a bunch of users. If you don't have a bunch of people offering bandwidth, then there's going to be more demand, and there's not going to be the resources for those users. And then if you have a ton of people offering bandwidth and there's not that many users, then those bandwidth providers aren't going to be earning income because there aren't people routing traffic through their nodes. And so they're going to maybe drop off because they're not earning enough income. So both sides need to increase at a healthy rate. And I'm really excited about that. So that's the challenge. And I think there's some really big opportunities coming. We've already announced a partnership with StrongBlock, and there's going to be a lot more coming around that partnership, and Adrianna can hit on that. And then we also are working with another company that's in the wraps, but a little hint, they leverage hardware and bandwidth of computer gamers around the world. And they're interested in bringing a lot of their user base to offer nodes on the network. So we're seeing huge opportunity for nodes. And as the nodes are there, we know that the other side of the problem, the users, that side is already, basically, we have way too much demand. All these white label companies are looking to build on the Sentinel network. And we're saying, let's wait till we scale up see the demand, the supply side really scale and nodes on the network. And then we're going to continue to increase white label companies building on the network. So I'm really excited about that. And then I'm also really stoked about this hardware router that's coming out at the end of this year. That's going to make it seamless for anyone that doesn't even need to run a front-end user interface. They don't need to run CLI. They can plug and play this software router, say that they want to opt in to offering their bandwidth to the network and being able to start earning passive income. And a lot of people are excited about crypto. A lot of people want to get their toe into this industry, but they hear a lot on mainstream news. It's a lot of hyperbole and clickbait, and they don't know what's safe or how, they don't want to put their capital at risk. This is a way to start earning crypto, partaking in the ecosystem, and not having to put any money up front. And you're using your already existing resources, which makes for value creation for everyone that's participating in the network, instead of value subtraction or that these centralized VPN companies have been operating on.
Yep. I mean, and I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, adding nodes really is the challenge, and scaling users on that for us is the the challenge we're facing for the rest of the year, and probably for the rest of our lives, really, because I don't think this permissionless network is going anywhere. But for me as a marketer, the challenge is education. It's constantly creating content around that education and informing people. That's why we started our ambassador program. And if you're interested in doing that and earning some DVPN, we have some ways for you to do that are non-technical. You can check out our Telegram for that. But we are looking for people to help create that content, help push the message in a safe and meaningful way, not just to crypto people, but like Dan said, to outside of the crypto sphere, because those are the most important users. Those are the ones that are being abused by the centralized VPN community. And we're looking to transition them into a Web3 perspective, basically, in an open source technology perspective. So for me as a marketer, that's definitely the challenge. And to Dan's point, we recently partnered with StrongBlock, and they are an amazing community. I can't say enough about them. David Moss, who leads their technical team, is very well informed on how these networks work. He's been in networking for over 20 years, and working with him has been a joy, honestly, because he's so good at relaying these technical propositions of how to add nodes to a network to further decentralize decentralized networks, as kind of cliche as that sounds. So we're looking forward to pushing that education out and working with the Cosmos users and crypto users on pulling more people into our little corner.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think 100% agree. Education is the most important. People need to learn about these things and be aware of those things, right? Because I know that VPN, like you were saying earlier, this industry doubled in the last 4 years. This industry is just growing. The market tells us like we need more competitors, right? And we need more, more efficient systems also, and maybe even ways for people to earn money from it, right? And make it a peer-to-peer marketplace. I think that's a great position that you guys are in. And also what Dan said, I think is really important, because that's, at least to me, like the key difference between the 2017 crypto bull run that we had and now 4 years later, is that back then we had nothing, right? We had just great ideas, speculation on the prices, and now we actually have real products that have shipped and have developed throughout the last 3-4 years, and have actual user bases, right? And actual also market demand and product market fit. So there's a lot of ways. I get this question also a lot, like, hey, how can we get involved in crypto? You know, I don't want to like just speculate and invest. Like, there's so many ways to get involved in crypto nowadays compared to 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, that's something to also check out. And so what would be your final advice now for somebody who's watching the whole interview, which is almost an hour now, and things like, man, this sounds really cool. I want to learn more about this. I want to start to, I don't know, run a node or get involved, or you have questions about a product. What's the best way to connect with you guys and get involved?
Yeah, so we've had 12 million VPN sessions on our network. So every time you connect to a VPN and you use it for a few hours or a day, that's one session. There have been 12 million of those in the past 3 years since this network has gone live. And now we're looking to really scale that. And I expect that to be 120 million and then 1.2 billion. I'm really excited about that. But for us to get to 120 million and 1.2 billion, and for you to be able, as a user, to be able to earn income, or to be able to purchase, like, be an ambassador and earn tokens to be able to get access to free VPN. There's so many ways that you can connect to our network, learn about what we're doing, and generate value for yourself. So as Adrianna said, you can come to our Telegram. That's t.me/sentinel_co, or check us out on Twitter. It's twitter.com/sentinel_co. And we're happy to connect with you, explain how the network works. Try out the application. It's on Android. It's on iOS. We're really excited about the new applications coming out next month. I think that's going to be really where people can kind of sink their teeth in and really understand about the value of decentralized VPN. But yeah, and also we're available. Our DMs are open, so hit us up. Happy to kind of explain where we're at and where we're going.
Yeah. You can definitely follow myself or Dan on Twitter as well. We both have individual pages where we keep everyone updated on not only Sentinel, but Exidio, and we share our thoughts on Web3 and the entire ecosystem. So definitely give us a follow. And you can always go to exidio.co to learn more about how to interact with our community.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll also link that down below. And yeah, I mean, I'm also personally looking forward to the desktop application, because I mostly work from my laptops and computers. So I'm looking forward to use that as well myself. And I just contributed today to another session, so we're getting there.
Awesome.
Love it.
So yeah, thanks so much for your time. I learned a lot. I hope we all learned a lot, and we'll keep in touch. Wish you guys all the best, and yeah, talk soon, I guess.
Cool.
Thank you.
See you. Thanks a lot.